Anything happening while if anything happens while we're on the runway, we'll release and go to the side of the tow plane. Below 200 feet, we don't have enough room to turn around, so we have to land straight ahead somewhere. We'll have to find someplace. Yes, above 200 feet, we have enough room to turn back around and land on the opposite runway. And then above about 500 feet, we can land with a modified pattern, so we got room to do just about anything.
All right, sir.
All right?
Yes, sir.
So if we're all set, you can give your wing runner a thumbs up, and they're going to level the wings. And then when we're fully ready, we're going to wag the rudder back and forth, and that says we're ready for takeoff. I'm just going to try and keep us right in the center of the runway with the wings level. And I stay just above the runway until he gets flying. And then I try and stay just about level with him. I basically want his main landing gear to look like it's landing on the horizon out there.
Yes, sir.
If I get out to the right of him, I just slide back a little bit to the left and vice versa. And if he starts turning, I just match our bank angle with his bank angle to turn kind of right behind him.
Yes, sir.
Here's our 200 feet, so now we would have enough altitude to actually turn back around to the airport and land if we needed to, which is always good.
It's a lot cooler after you get going.
Yeah, it is. You can see how hot it gets really quick, right?
Yes, sir.
Big sunroom, green room, that's your greenhouse effect. Alright, so take a look at the yaw string right in front of you. And if I push on the rudder, look how it swings off to the side. See that? How it swings one way or the other. That's what we're looking for, trying to keep that yaw string just about as straight as we can. And you're not always going to be able to keep it perfectly straight, but you try and keep it there anyways. Very important, especially when you start flying slow flight. If the tow plane starts turning, we just try and match his bank angle. And our nose should be pointed just about to his outer wing. You know what highway this is here?
395.
Yeah, 395 is about as far east as we want to go for our first flights. You know what that lake is up there? I think it's Walters Lake or something like that. But that's about as far north as we want to go. Then there's a big green field right out here, and then a white building way further out. That's about as far to the west as we'd want to go. Got the airport there. You know where the jump zone is because you're based here, right? And then you know where Walmart is? See that white roof down to the south?
Yes, sir.
That's Walmart. That's about as far south as we'd want to go.
Alright, sir.
Alright, we're above 1,000 feet, so you can put your hands and feet on the controls with me. I'm still going to fly. And you can tell what I'm doing, basically trying to keep the wings level unless the tow plane's turning. If the tow plane starts turning, we try and turn with them. Anytime I put aileron control in, I got to put in a little bit of rudder control. See, he got in this big thermal right here, feel that?
Yes,
so he gets pushed up way before we do, and then a few seconds later, we get pushed up. That's good, that means we're starting to get lift. It does get a little more bumpy when you're in lift, especially in a light glider. But glider pilots like it once they get used to it. Have you done any powered flights at all?
No, sir.
No, none at all? Alright, your first time ever?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Have you flown in the airplane at all? Jets? Nothing? Your very first time in an airplane?
Yes, sir.
Ah, it was great. How you like it?
It's amazing.
Good view up here, huh?
Yeah.
It's awesome visibility today. You've probably got, I don't know, 100, 200 mile of visibility. You can see the mountains up there in Vermont.
Yeah.
We get turned around, you'll probably see Providence. So as he turns, we just try and match his bank angle. Try Try and keep him right about on the horizon. You know what I mean by horizon, right? Where the sky and the ground meets. All right, we're a little above 2,000 feet above the ground. You find the airport? There you go. Very important, especially in a glider. You don't have power to help you prolong your search for an airport, so always got to keep an eye on where it's at, or they call it situational awareness, trying to be aware of where you are in relation to it. It's very easy to get lost in a glider because we circle so much trying to climb in these thermals. See the clouds down there that look like the popcorn, puffy clouds? Those are cumulus clouds, and those are a lot of times on the top of thermals. So we use those in gliders all the time. We'll go fly underneath them and hope to find a thermal underneath it so you can help climb and prolong your flights. And that's what they call soaring. Otherwise, you're just gliding. So as we get up close to 3,000 feet above the ground, which is going to be a big, short, stubby hand on the 3 and the long, skinny hand about 250, we're going to look off to our right, make sure that there's no air traffic, no airplanes or anything off to our right. And then when we get to 3,250 feet, I'll have you pull that handle. And we do. You're going to look for the yellow rope. It should snake away from us a little bit, and he'll turn 90 degrees to the left, and we'll turn 90 degrees to the right. All right, you all set?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead and pull that big red knob. You see the rope go away?
Yes,
He turns left, we turn right, and we're flying with no motor. All right, I'm gonna turn right about 90 degrees, and you see that lake or that white thing way out there? We're gonna point towards that, and I'm gonna keep us flying about 45 miles an hour, which is the nose about like this below the horizon. And if you would pull that yellow lever, no, the one on the stick, the trim lever, and that'll reset that spring. All right, and that'll help it pretty much stay right where it is. All right, now I'm going to give you the flight control, so you have the aircraft, and just keep the wings level. And if the nose starts to go down, you just have to pull back just very lightly. See how it's going down? There you go. If it goes up too much, you can just relax it a little bit. See how it's just very small control movements?
Sure.
All right, so this is about the pitch that you would need for minimum sink, which is 45 miles an hour. For our best L/D airspeed, it's about 50 miles an hour, and that helps us get places where we want to go, like to the next thermal or to the airport. So to get to 50, you just lower the nose a little bit more, hold it right there, and the airspeed lags. Watch, see how it's still coming? There you go. So once you get to the airspeed where you want it, that's where you want to keep that pitch below the horizon. See how the nose came back up and it slowed down again? There you go. Good. All right, now when you start doing turns, remember how I said we have to do them coordinated? We're going to need to do aileron, which is left and right, and a rudder at the same time. Watch that white thing that we were talking about up there. Watch what happens to the nose when I put in the left aileron. Watch which way the nose goes. Which way is the nose going? Well, the wing's trying to go to the left, but the nose slid off to the right. Watch when I put in the right aileron. Watch which way the nose slides. See how it goes to the left? That's why you got to use the rudder. All right? So when you start your turn, you're flying again. We'll do a bank to the right, about 20 degrees of bank, and put a little bit of rudder in with it, and it'll try and keep that nose coming around. As you get steeper bank, you have to increase the back pressure on the stick to keep the nose from dropping, because we're using some of that lift to turn the glider. If it starts to get too steep, you just put a little bit of opposite aileron and rudder in. There you go. Keep turning all the way back around to this big lake back there. You see it? Off your right side. When you get pointed at it, just a little left aileron, left rudder. Very good. All right, let's do a turn to the left, back around to that white thing that we were looking at. You're always wanting to clear for traffic too. See how the nose is dropping? You need to add a little bit of back pressure. There you go. And by clearing for traffic, I mean if you're turning left, you want to look to the left to make sure that there's no airplanes out there to where we're turning. If you're turning right, you look to the right. Always looking for traffic. The pilots are responsible for maintaining collision avoidance and for seeing and avoiding any other aircraft or birds or whatever. All right, let's try one back to the right. We'll do it a little bit steeper, about 30 degrees of bank. And remember, the steeper the bank angle, the more back pressure you have to have on the stick, otherwise the nose drops. About like that. Nose up. There you go. The right aileron. Alright. Let's try one to the right. If it gets too steep, just a little bit more aileron to the left. See how the yaw string's way out to the side? You gotta keep the controls coordinated. So anytime you are using left or right aileron, you gotta use that left and right rudder. All right, let's turn back around to the left and we'll head over to this big shopping area where the Lowe's and stuff is. A little bit higher on the nose. There you go. All right, just straighten out there. Nose back down below the horizon, about to where you had it for min-sync. There you go. A little bit higher. Higher. There you go. Right in there. What do you think?
Very cool.
Pretty neat, right?
Sure.
So what we're going to do is plan our approach and landing. You can see the runway down here. This is runway 31. You can just try and keep flying us straight towards that shopping area. Keep the wings level. We're going to go on a left downwind, which is just past the high school here, kind of to the north of the jump zone. We'll parallel the runway and then we'll do a left 90-degree turn for our base leg and a left 90-degree turn for our final. And that'll bring us back into the runway. But we'll go back out to the Lowe's over here. See the big white building? We'll go to that first. We got to lose another 800 feet or so. Any questions about anything? See that white cloud right in front of us?
Sure.
That's a cumulus cloud, and that's the kind of thing you'd be looking for if you were trying to soar underneath it. So we would try, if we were going to stay up for a long time, we'd go fly over there, always making sure you're within glide distance of an airport or a place to land, and then try and circle underneath there. That variometer, which is the second instrument from the left, that tells you how fast you're going up and down. And normally it's about 250 feet per minute, right around where it is now, down, unless we're in lift or sink. But right now we're in just a little bit of sink. And when we get in sync, we usually fly faster to get out of it. All right, let's do a right turn, about 270-degree turn. And then as we get done with this turn, I'm going to take over control and we'll go back in and land. If it gets too steep, just a little bit of opposite aileron. There you go.
Okay, good morning, clear the runway down.
All right, now you can turn right towards the airport. Denton traffic glider 30, telling you left downwind runway 13, Denton. Alright, I'm going to take over control, so hands and feet off the controls, and I'll kind of explain what we're doing. We're on a 45 entry to our downwind right here, and we're going to run a before landing checklist, which we use STAL as the acronym. S stands for speed, and we want about 55 miles an hour. T stands for trim, so I'm going to have you pull that bar again. The trim bar. And that resets the trim for 55. That gives us a little bit of extra margin for the speed. A stands for air brake, so I'm going to open this die brake or air brake. Look to the left and the right. You can see them open on the wing. See them? Back on the wing. There you go. Then we'll make sure they work. And then L stands for look. We're looking at the runway, making sure there's nothing on the runway. Looks all clear. We're also looking at the wind socks, making sure the winds are still where they were before. It looks good. And then the last L is land. And if we can't finish that last L, then we got problems with our checklist. So we're looking for about half dive brakes, trying to keep it a nice glide path so that we can correct for any lift or sink that we may get. Traffic glider 302, left base 13 against. We also do what's called a slip, which is a cross control maneuver. See how we're kind of going sideways? And that gives us a lot more drag on the fuselage and helps us to sink faster without increasing our airspeed. So we're just going to time this last turn to final, so that we roll out on the center line. And then this slip helps us go down faster. Maintain the center line, start slowing down, hold the nose up as long as possible, and then start using a brake. And we use the stick to keep our wings level as long as we can, and we come to a stop. What do you think?
It's pretty neat.
Cool, glad I could take you on your first flight ever.